That is the head coach of Milford Post 59, Steve DeVito, joining us in our Coach's Corner, which is brought to you by Crystal Pool and Spa, the pool supply store that's all about fun, located on Route 140 in Bellingham. We are rapidly approaching the first pitch in this game, just a little over 4 minutes away. Right now the team's out on the field. The two head coaches going over ground rules with the two-man officiating crew, so certainly an improvement from the last game as the umpires are here prior to the first pitch. Again, that was a bit of a communication error we found out after the fact, as that game had been moved from a 7 o'clock first pitch to a 5:30 first pitch just a couple of days before that game took place. But fortunate that Coach Simos came to the rescue to be able to do some umpiring there through the early innings before one of the actual umpires was able to get there for the remainder of the game. So that one was able to be played out without too much of a delay. And then some wild offense. Milford looking to keep that offensive effort going that they had on Friday with a little bit more of a solid pitching performance in the game as well. Again, a rare struggle for Alex Gunfriday in that start. Milford will have Jack Tempesta on the hill here tonight. We'll get to the full starting lineups for the two teams in just a bit. First, let's get to our injury report, which is brought to you by Milford Regional Medical Center, and one name continues to be on that list for Milford Post 59, and that is Tommy Ambrosoni, who still is hoping to get back to this team. He is dealing with a hand injury, and he will be reevaluated a little bit later on in the season. So Tommy Ambrosoni, the lone name on our injury report, brought to you by Milford Regional Medical Center, recently earning an A grade in patient safety. Milford now taking the field, which means the national anthem is imminent here at field level. So what we will do is we'll take one final timeout, and when we come back, we'll close out our Milford Hardwood pregame show with our starting lineup. So stay tuned to coverage of Milford Legion baseball right here on MyFM 101.3. Closing out our Milford Hardwood pregame show with the starting lineups for tonight's game as Milford gets set to host Sturbridge Post 109. So the starting lineups brought to you by the Consigli Ruggiero Funeral Home, and they look like this. First for the visitors, Sturbridge Post 109. It is Sean Clark who leads it off in right field. Avery Weatherby plays left field and bats second, with Devin Kingman, the third baseman, in the number 3 spot. Roger Leland is the cleanup hitter, playing first base, with Pat Wilbur, the center fielder, batting fifth. Mick Sullivan plays shortstop and bats sixth, with Jared Langevin in as the designated hitter, batting seventh. John Reardon catches and bats eighth, with Nolan Kingman, the second baseman, in the number 9 spot. And for Milford Post 59, the starting lineup looks like this. Ben McKenzie leads it off in center. Steven Simos bats second and plays second, with Sam Parker, the left fielder, batting third. Danny Johnson DHs tonight and bats cleanup, with Brendan Kelly in at first base, batting fifth. Matt Shaver is your third baseman, batting sixth, with Alex Gunfriday, the right fielder, batting seventh. Jacob Beater is the catcher, batting eighth, and in the 9th spot, playing shortstop, is Chris Brunt. And your pitching matchup, as we mentioned, Jack Tempesta getting the nod for Post 59. He is out there completing his warm-up tosses as we speak. He will be opposed on the Sturbridge side by Spencer Cipro. So again, those are your starting lineups, brought to you by the Consigli Ruggiero Funeral Home, located on Water Street in Milford, serving all faiths for over 50 years. It is somewhat humid conditions here at the field as this game gets underway, but certainly not the same intensity of heat in which we experienced through late last week and over the course of the weekend. So relatively comfortable for the fans, just a tick under 80 degrees at 79 here at game time. Mostly blue skies overhead, just a few light clouds. The light's starting to come on here at Pheno Field, but again, still a good deal of sunshine that's just now starting to fade away off in the distance, as now Tempesta is ready to get this game started. The top 3 hitters coming up for Sturbridge: Sean Clark, Avery Weatherby, and Devin Kingman. And it is Clark in on the right side right now as the first pitch comes in from Tempesta, and it is a called strike one. Tempesta has seen a light workload on the mound so far this year. Here's his 0-1 pitch, and it misses high. Taking a look at the numbers for Tempesta on the season, this is his 3rd appearance of 2019. It's his 2nd start, and now ready to deal in a 1-ball, 1-strike pitch, and this is driven in the air pretty deep out into left field. Sam Parker going back, tracking it back towards the fence. That's going to stay in the yard, but it scrapes the wall, and a wide turn around second base for Clark. He will hold there, as Sam Parker did a fairly good job of getting that ball back in quickly, but that was hammered by Sean Clark. Again, a lot of ballparks would not have held that ball, even here at Pheno Field. That missed a home run by maybe about 3 feet. And it is not a cheapie down the left field line, close to 400 feet out there. And so immediately a runner in scoring position for post 109. So offense was at a premium between these two teams when they squared off a little over a week ago. And Sturbridge trying for a different start to this game tonight. Here's a high fly ball sent into foul territory off the bat of Avery Weatherby, but it spins off out of play. No chance for Matt Shaver, who gave it a look down the third base line. So leadoff double for Sean Clark. He is at second base. Avery Weatherby at the dish with a count of no balls and 1 strike. Quickly jumping into action here this evening. And now Tempesta fires in a called strike on the outer edge. And the count goes to 0-2. Tempesta look down to second base. Now fires in the 0-2, and that is on the inside corner for strike 3. A bit of a delayed call from the ump, but he rings him up. And Weatherby is out number 1 of the inning, the first strikeout for Tempesta. And so now Devin Kingman will stand in. An enthusiastic crowd here on the Sturbridge side. A lot of the Sturbridge fans gathering in right around the home plate area as Tempesta fires in ball 1 in the dirt, nicely blocked by Jacob Beater. One 1-0 with 1 down, and that Sturbridge runner still at second base. Here's the pitch, and that's outside. And check that, a 1-ball, 1-strike count. A little bit of confusion here now, as it sounded verbally as if the home plate umpire said that that ball was outside. Then he held up a 1-ball, 1-strike count, but he was properly backed up by his infield umpire, who gave him the correct count. So it is indeed a 2-ball, no-strike count. And now a high pop-up just out onto the left field grass, now into foul territory. Shaver has it tracked down, and he makes the catch in foul territory for out number 2. Defensively for post 59, it is Jacob Beater behind the plate, Matt Shaver at third, Chris Brunt at short, Steven Simos at second, and Brendan Kelly at first. Left to right in the outfield, Sam Parker, Ben McKenzie, and Alex Gunfriday. Sean Clark, who led off the inning with a double, remains at second base with 2 down. Now Roger Leland at the dish. And he swings at the first pitch, lines it back up the middle, just gets past the glove of Simos. And the runner now will take a wide turn around third base. He loses his footing and now has to scamper back to the third base bag. He gets there. A little bit of indecision from the runner coming around from third. Looked as though he would have been able to score, but hesitated. And then as he threw on the brakes, completely lost the footing. And then at that point it was panic as he retreated back to the third base bag. So no run scores on the line drive single for Leland, the second hit of the inning. And so Sturbridge now with runners at the corners. And their number 5 hitter, Pat Wilbur, stands in on the right side. And Wilbur takes the first pitch outside and low for ball 1. Could not have asked for a better start than what Sturbridge got out of Pat Wilbur on the mound when these two teams met last. Tempesta steers over the shoulder at that runner at first. Now fires in the 1-0. That's low. It kicks away from Beater. Here comes the runner from third base, and he will score. A wild pitch from Tempesta will bring in the first run of the game, and Sturbridge is able to jump out to a 1-0 lead. Roger Leland advances to second base. And so Milford, fortunate that that runner didn't come home on the hit from Leland, but Tempesta with the wild pitch. And now the runner does score, as now Wilbur is a half-hearted swing at that pitch that dropped out of the zone, and the count now goes to 2-1. Just to finish the point about Wilbur's pitching performance, 6 2/3 innings. He scattered 6 hits, allowed just 1 run, and struck out 6 in what ended up as a no decision in a eventual Milford 3-1 victory in extra innings. But one of the best starting pitching performances we've seen out of an opponent so far this year. The count now even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. The next one on the way, and it drops in for a called strike 3. So 2 Ks in the inning for Tempesta. But a wild pitch allows the first run of the game to cross the plate. Sturbridge jumps on top early by a score of 1-0. And now the Post 59 bats will take their first swings of the game when we come back next here on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3. Coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3 is brought to you in part by the Crisafulli Ruggiero Funeral Home. Located on Water Street in Milford, serving all faiths for over 50 years. David Crisafulli, the director. Coverage also brought to you in part by Milford Regional Medical Center, recently earning an A grade in patient safety. And coverage of Milford Legion Baseball is also brought to you in part by Bright Insurance Agency of Milford, the insurance professionals working for you. Milford starting off from behind in this game, as Jack Tempesta allowed a single and a double in the top half of the first inning, ultimately a run scoring courtesy of a wild pitch. And so now Milford will look to get on the board themselves as they send McKenzie, Simos, and Parker to the dish against the starter for Sturbridge, Spencer Cipro. Tall, lanky right-hander about to square off against the righty leadoff bat for Milford, Ben McKenzie. And McKenzie takes the first pitch low for ball one. Ben McKenzie, a red-hot start to his Milford Legion career. He had the day off against Framingham last Friday as he carves this pitch foul to even the count at a ball and a strike. But through 5 games so far on the season, Ben McKenzie batting .563, 9 hits in his first 16 at-bats. He's hit 2 triples, he's driven in 6 runs, he's walked 4 times, he's stolen a couple of bases. A perfect skill set for a leadoff hitter in Ben McKenzie. 2-ball, 1-strike pitch coming up, and it's high for ball 3. Milford in their retro-style navy jerseys for this game with gold lettering. Sturbridge with a new jersey look here tonight as this pitch drops in low for ball 4, skips past the catcher into the backstop, but McKenzie will make the slow trot down to first base as he leads off this inning with a walk. Uniforms for Sturbridge, a green look in the midsection, camouflage green sleeves, and star-spangled post 109 across the chest. Sharp look to these uniforms, the gold number on the back. Now Steven Simos up on the left side, and he sends a chopper up over the backstop and out of play. That took a big hop right in front of home plate, and then a rainbow bounce right over the backstop and into the first row of bleachers behind the backstop. And a conference now on the pitcher's mound. With the count now 0-1 on Simos. That may have actually clipped the umpire, as it turns out. Looks like Coach Roseal out of the Sturbridge dugout checking on the left shoulder of the umpire. Either got the ball or perhaps the backswing of Simos. Not sure exactly what happened there, but now everyone seems to be okay. A no-ball, 1-strike count on the left-handed hitter Simos. McKenzie a lead away from first base. Cipro sets now his pitch upstairs. Defensively for Sturbridge, it is John Reardon behind the plate, Devin Kingman at third, Mick Sullivan at short, Nolan Kingman at second, and Roger Leland at first. Left to right in the outfield, Avery Weatherby, Pat Wilbur, and Sean Clark. Here's the 1-1 pitch. That is also high. Sturbridge starting out of the gates very strong this season, but they have scuffled just a bit over their last stretch of games. Count now 3-1 on Simos. Cipro now nods his approval to the sign. He sets, and the pitch. And that misses outside for ball 4. Back-to-back walks to open up this bottom of the first inning. Most recently for Sturbridge, they played a doubleheader against North County yesterday. And North County was able to win the first game of that doubleheader 7-6. I should say that was a couple of days ago on the 29th. It was on Saturday. Losing the first game to North County 7-6, then they came back to earn a mercy rule victory 11-1 against North County in game 2, but that was North County's first victory of the season. So finally on the board after a real gut-wrenching start to the season. Now Sam Parker at the plate with 2 on and nobody out. He takes a pitch high for ball 1, and right now Cipro is struggling to find the plate. Check on the runners. And now the pitch. And that is up and away for ball 2. And right now these Milford hitters have to make Cipro earn it here. Sam Parker had another banner offensive day last Friday. He's been arguably the team's best hitter so far this season and had arguably his best day of the season in Framingham, as the count now goes to 3 balls and no strikes. 3 for 5 in that game for Parker with 4 runs batted in. He had 2 triples. I beg your pardon, he had a double and a triple, I should say. And now the 3-0 pitch is not close. Up and in for ball 4. A 4-pitch walk to Parker. And Spencer Cipro has now walked to the bases loaded in this bottom of the first inning. And this is going to prompt a visit now from the Sturbridge coaching staff. And not a lot of these pitches have been at all tempting out of the hand of Cipro. So right now McKenzie is the runner at third base, Steven Simos at second, and Sam Parker at first. And a real good opportunity presenting itself for Danny Johnson, who right now lurks around home plate as the conference on the mound continues. The entire Sturbridge infield surrounding the Sturbridge coaching staff as this conference takes place. Now the home plate umpire is set to break things up. He travels out there, and now the meeting disperses. So Danny Johnson will now step to the plate. Danny also had a very good game last Friday against Framingham overall on the season, batting .306 with 14 runs batted in. Just 1 behind Sam Parker for the team lead, and he's got some ducks on the pond right here. The base is loaded. And a 1-ball, no-strike count as Cipro continues to struggle with his command. Here is the 1-0 pitch, and that is up and in for ball 2. Cipro in a big-time jam. Here's his 2-0 pitch. And a borderline pitch on the outside part of the plate. And he gets the benefit of the doubt from the umpire as the count goes to 2-1. And now a big swing and a miss. Johnson going after it that time, but comes up empty. And the count now even at 2-2. Sturbridge would gladly give up the run to turn a double play here, the infield back. There's the 2-2 pitch, and Johnson fights it off to the backstop. And another healthy cut. Johnson does not often get cheated on his swings. He has logged 4 doubles so far on the season. Now the 2-2 pitch, it's popped up foul. That will travel out of play. And it stays 2 balls and 2 strikes on the Milford designated hitter. Brendan Kelly waiting on deck. No outs in this first inning. Here is another 2-2 pitch, and it's sent in the air out to center field. Plenty deep as Wilbur now sidesteps towards right center to make the catch. Tagging at third base is McKenzie. He will cross the plate. Simos advances to third base. The throw comes into third, and that allows Sam Parker to advance down to second. So a sacrifice fly for Danny Johnson, and Milford now able to knot this game up at 1. With one down in the inning, Brendan Kelly will bat with 2 in scoring position. And now the first pitch to Brendan Kelly misses outside for ball 1. Spencer Cipro falling behind virtually every batter he has faced so far in this inning. Now the 1-0 pitch from the righty. It's high for ball 2. No activity loosening on the sidelines for Sturbridge, hoping that their starter can find his form here. Here's his 2-0 pitch. And that is outside for ball 3. Pitcher's mound right now in the shade. At home plate in a patch of sunshine. Here is the next pitch. And it is high for ball 4. Another 4-pitch walk. The 4th walk now of this first inning. So no hits, I should say, for post 59 as of yet. Bases loaded once again now for Matt Shaver. A lone Milford High School representative with a chance to do some damage at the plate. Shaver with a .273 batting average coming into tonight's action. 7 runs batted in. 1 ball, 1 strike count as the catcher will look Steven Simos back to the third base bag. Shaver has 9 hits on the year. 2 of them have gone for extra bases. He's also walked 11 times. Now the 1-1 pitch comes inside. Shaver just barely able to backpedal out of the way. The count now goes to 2-1. This is a Milford team with incredible patience and plate discipline across the board. They'd walked 82 times through their first 12 games of the season. Shaver with 7 walks himself. This team is not going to take a lot of wild hacks as now Shaver gets into this pitch, drives it out into right field. Backing up on it is Sean Clark. He is able to make the catch. And now Simos will tag at third base. He will cross the plate. Another sacrifice fly for post 59, and this one will push them on top by a score of 2-1. So Milford scoring 2 times without the benefit of a base hit. Sam Parker was able to advance to third base on that drive out to right. Brendan Kelly stayed put at first, so runners at the corners with 2 down. And now Alex Gonfride stands in on the left side. Takes the first pitch up and away for ball 1. Lucas Basile not in the starting lineup for tonight's game. Gonfride getting the nod out in right field with Parker in left and McKenzie in center. Here's a 1-0 pitch, and that is up and away for ball 2. A lot of pitches for Spencer Cipro in this bottom of the first inning. He's allowed 2 runs so far. Here is the 2-0 pitch, and Gonfride takes it outside for ball 3. Should Gonfride reach, we would see Jacob Beater in the inning. Here is the 3-0, and that misses outside for ball 4, and there is walk number 5. And once again, we'll see a bases loaded situation for post 59. As the 8th batter of the inning comes to the plate, it is Jacob Beater. Jacob has had more than his share of bases loaded situations when he has been at the plate this season, trying to come through here to put a big number on the scoreboard here in inning number 1. Cipro able to start off with a first pitch strike. Not much of a breeze here at the field at the moment. Here's the 0-1, and that is high for a ball. And again, John Reardon popping up out of the crouch, looking as if he wanted to send a throw down to third base, does not release it. Parker retreated back to the third base bag. Bases are loaded with 2 outs. Here's a 1-1 pitch to Beater, and it's upstairs for ball 2. Jacob enters action tonight with the batting average at 133. He has worked 4 walks. Here's the 2-1, and that is in for a strike. Right at the bottom of the zone, a 2-ball, 2-strike count with 2 outs, and a Milford runner at every base. Wind up and the pitch from Cipro, and it's high for ball 3. So a big pitch upcoming as all 3 Milford runners will get a head start. Parker at third, Kelly at second, Confride at first, the payoff pitch, and it is popped up on the infield. The shortstop, Mick Sullivan, takes charge, comes in towards the pitcher's mound, and makes the catch for the out that ends the inning. So Milford can't get the big blow in the inning, but they do get a couple of sacrifice flies, and after 1 inning of play, it is now Milford 2 and Sturbridge 1 here on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3. Both teams spending a good deal of time at the plate in their respective half of the first inning. Sturbridge with a run on 2 hits. Milford no hits in their half of the first inning, but 5 walks. Helped them to plate 2 runs, sacrifice flies from Danny Johnson and Matt Shaver. And so it is now a 2-1 lead for Milford post 59, as Sturbridge will send their 6, 7, and 8 hitters to the plate. Mick Sullivan to lead it off. Sullivan was the leadoff hitter when these 2 teams met back on June 22nd. Sullivan takes the first pitch low for ball 1. He ended up going 1 for 5 in that game, reaching on an infield single, which ended up playing a key role in the game. Reached on that infield single to lead off the 5th inning. The inning in which Sturbridge tied the game, ultimately forcing extra innings. And here's Sullivan with a line drive back up the middle, good for a base hit. Hard sinking line drive right back through the middle of the infield. And Sullivan is aboard with the 3rd Sturbridge hit. So Sturbridge out hitting Milford now 3-0, but Milford leading in the run column 2-1. Now a swing and a miss from Jared Langevin, the Sturbridge DH. Short lead right now at first base for Sullivan. Does have good speed. Now the 0-1 pitch. And that is too low. The count evens at a ball and a strike. One ball and 1 strike. With a runner at first base and nobody out. Tempesta, the kick and the pitch, and it's a ground ball hit to shortstop. Brunt fields it, fires to second for the out there. The throw on to first is not in time. A bang-bang play at first, but Jared Langevin just able to get that foot down on the first base bag ahead of the throw. It breaks up the double play bid for Milford. Good execution, but it's taking a little bit too long. So Langevin reaches on the fielder's choice. Sullivan out at second base on the force play. So 1 out now as Langevin is the lone runner. And now a first pitch strike tossed into the catcher, John Reardon. Tempest to the righty, back to the set. Now the 0-1 pitch, that darts down and away, blocked by Beater. One and 1 the count on the right-handed hitting Sturbridge catcher. Here's the pitch, and that's low for ball 2. The Red Sox are idle today. With their situation with 2 days off back-to-back after finishing up what I suppose you would classify as a pretty disastrous trip out to London all the way around for the Sox. A lot of runs scored, but a couple of bullpen implosions. Of course, in terms of game one of that London series, Rick Porcello not looking like Rick Porcello, allowing 6 runs in the first. So no Red Sox action here on MyFM tonight. The Sox will be back in action tomorrow. Still not back in the country. They'll be north of the border taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. It's a 3-ball, 2-strike count now on John Reardon. Tempesta a stare into the plate. Now the payoff. The check swing. Did he go around? He did indeed. The home plate umpire rings him up. A strikeout for Tempesta, his 3rd. And there are now 2 outs in the inning. Sturbridge runner still at first base. And now the number 9 hitter, Nolan Kingman, at the plate. Kingman swings at the first pitch, grounds it back up the middle, scooped by Brunt. He'll underhand flip to second base to get the force play that ends the inning. So the leadoff hit does not yield any results for Sturbridge. On to the bottom half of the second inning we go. It is still Milford 2 and Sturbridge 1 here on your home for Milford Legion Baseball, MyFM 101.3. Coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3 is brought to you in part by Pepperoncini's Pizzeria and Grill. A great menu for the whole family. Coverage also brought to you in part by Milford Nissan. Test drive a new Nissan today. And coverage of Milford Legion Baseball is also brought to you in part by the Crystal Room. Book your next function at the Crystal Room on Cedar Street in Milford. They can accommodate up to 300 people. Tim Caouette here with you on the call of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3. Milford leading this game against Sturbridge by a score of 2-1. Milford 2 runs with no hits. Sturbridge 1 run on 3 hits. And Milford will send batters 9-1 and 2 to the plate against the righty Spencer Cipro. He deals ball 1 inside to Chris Brunt. 5 walks, including walks to the first 3 batters of the inning in the first for Cipro. And right back at it as he deals the first 2 pitches outside of the strike zone to the Milford shortstop. Comes into action tonight batting .361. And now a high fly ball down the right field line off the bat of Brunt into foul territory. A long run for Sean Clark. He slides deep into foul territory and makes the catch. About as good a play as you'll see in right field here at Fino. Tons of foul territory. Clark into a full sprint into that foul ground, slid feet first, close to the warning track area, and was able to make that catch right at the very edge of his reach. He lunged about as far as he could and just barely snagged that one in the glove. Outstanding play from Sean Clark. We go second time through the lineup now. Ben McKenzie takes a look at ball 1. McKenzie walked and scored last inning. Now fights this one off foul. It twists out of play. Milford TV here at the field tonight, once again covering Legion action to be aired a little bit later on in the week, both on their educational channel and also on YouTube. Here, Ben McKenzie lifts a fly ball out into right, a much more conventional play for Sean Clark, who barely had to move this time to make the catch. And it's 2 up and 2 down in the inning. Just to finish up the point, again, you can find all of Milford TV's sports coverage, Legion coverage, on the Milford TV educational channel and also on their YouTube page. Very easy to find. Bases are empty now with 2 down. Simo's at the plate. He takes ball 1 high, so a chance for a much lower impact inning for Cipro. He still has been shaky with the command, but he's been able to get 2 fly ball outs. Now the pitch misses outside and low, snagged just barely by Reardon behind the plate. A 2-ball, no strike count. Sturbridge coming off of a weekend where they played a doubleheader. Milford coming off of a weekend where I would imagine a good deal of these players tried to make their way down to the Cape, to the beach, somewhere to enjoy a rare bit of free time. It's a 2-1 count now to Simos. Here's the pitch, and it's hit high in the air again out to right field, this time towards the gap. Reardon over, still going over, and able to make the catch. Wilbur was in the vicinity as well, but it is Sean Clark who takes care of all 3 outs in this bottom half of the second inning, and Milford goes 1-2-3. 2 innings in the books now from Fino Field. It remains 2-1, Milford on top of Sturbridge here on MyFM 101.3. A much quicker second inning for the Sturbridge starter Spencer Cipro. Induced 3 fly ball outs, all of them out to right field. One of them a very high degree of difficulty, but each time Sean Clark was up to the occasion. And wouldn't you know it, after making all of those solid plays in the field, it will be Sean Clark who leads things off here in the top half of inning number 3. Funny how that always has a way to work out. Clark's really been doing it all tonight. Aside from solid glove work, he also doubled to open up the ball game. A smash out to left field that was barely contained by the cavernous Fino outfield. Ended up going as a double. But a couple of strikes pumped in here by Jack Tempesta has Clark down 0-2. Tempesta nods his approval to the sign, now fires in the 0-2. An attempting pitch just off the outside part of the plate, but Clark refuses to chase, and the count goes to 1-2. Tempesta speeding up the pace here just a bit in the third inning. Here's the 1-2, and that is in for a called strike 3. Strikeout number 4 for Tempesta. 3 of the 4 have been called strikeouts. That will bring up Avery Weatherby. He was called out on strikes back in the first inning. And now timeout is called by Weatherby, granted by the umpire. Now digs back in on the left side as the righty Tempesta fires in the pitch, and it's swung on and missed. This is a Sturbridge team that a couple of years ago was comprised of some of the youngest players in all of Zone 4. A lot of freshmen in high school, sophomores. If I'm not mistaken, there might have even been a couple of 8th graders. But Jim Roseal really working to develop this young talent. And you can see the results now. A lot of these players have stuck around for 2 or 3 years, and you've really seen the improvement. Making a bid for a spot in the zone playoffs. Right now a 2-ball, 1-strike count on Avery Weatherby with 1 down. Here's the pitch, and it's sent foul over the backstop and out of play. Sturbridge 6-7 on the season. They were over 500 when Milford played them at Holy Cross a little over a week ago. Ended up losing some tough games in succession after that. Next pitch from Tempesta missing high, and now the count runs full after that loss to Milford. It was a 12-1 loss to Grafton Hill, followed by a doubleheader sweep at the hands of Shrewsbury, and then a loss 6-5 to Sturbridge before finally getting back in the win column. Here the 3-2 pitch in for a called strike 3, and Weatherby is down by way of the K for the second time tonight, and Tempesta is starting to get stronger in this game now as we head toward the middle innings. He is on his way potentially to a 1-2-3 inning here. He's grabbed the first 2 outs on strikeouts, and now Devin Kingman, the number 3 hitter, will stand in. Swings at the first pitch and slaps it back up the middle. Brunt will field it close to the bag, throws off balance to first base, and gets it there in time for the out that retires the side. And a quick frame for Tempesta. Both pitchers starting to settle into this game now. It is still 2-1 Milford on top of Sturbridge as we bring you coverage of Milford Legion Baseball here on MyFM 101.3. Coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3 is brought to you in part by Crystal Pool and Spa, a pool supply store that's all about fun, located on Route 140 in Bellingham. Coverage of Milford Legion Baseball is also brought to you in part by Mass Renewables of Bellingham, providing you with clean solar energy and battery backup solutions. Sam Parker, the first Milford batter to come to the plate as we move right along to the bottom half of inning number 3. After a slow start to the game, the last 2 half innings have breezed along. Milford shut down 1-2-3 in the bottom of the second, and Jack Tempesta with a 1-2-3 top half of the third. And so the Milford bats right back up there. And a 2-ball, no-strike count out of the gates from Cipro to Parker. As we mentioned, the command really did not get a whole lot better for Cipro last inning. It's helped along by some high fly balls off the Milford bats that were all corralled out and right by Sean Clark. It's a 2-1 count now on Parker. Here's the pitch. It's up and away for ball 3. We'll start to get you updated on some of the most recent activity around Zone 4 as this inning goes on. Here's the 3-1 pitch. And Parker lets it go. It's outside for ball 4. And Parker is on to open the third inning as we see another walk from Cipro. That is walk number 6. So Cipro throwing a no-hitter here so far tonight in the early going, but there have been plenty of runners on, courtesy of all the walks. And Danny Johnson now waiting to see his first pitch. Danny drove in the first Milford run of the game with a sacrifice fly in the first. And he'll take a pitch at the knees for a called strike. There were a total of 5 games played on the day yesterday around the zone. 4 of them ended up being played to completion. As the 0-1 pitch misses, evening the count at a ball and a strike. That was a pretty good pitch. That had some late movement on it back to the inside corner, but ruled a ball. One and one on Danny Johnson. Here's the pitch, and it's high for ball 2. So we mentioned the doubleheader. I beg your pardon, that doubleheader for Sturbridge was on Saturday. They did start a game yesterday against Northbridge. They were able to accumulate a 5-0 lead in that game, but with the pop-up thunderstorms yesterday, that game interfered with and ultimately suspended, so they will pick up again. I'm not exactly sure the inning, but with Sturbridge leading Northbridge by a score of 5-0. Here comes a 2-2 pitch now to Johnson, and it's swung on and missed. That's the first strikeout for Spencer Cipro. And he will now deal with Brendan Kelly with the Milford runner at first base and 1 down. Get some of those other scores from yesterday. Just a moment. First, a pickoff throw over to first base. It bounced in, and fortunately it hit Sam Parker. Fortunately for Sturbridge, I should say. Otherwise, that one might have gotten away. Parker right back out to a lead. As now the pitch comes to the plate, and Kelly sends a rifle shot over the backstop, foul and out of play. Final scores from around the zone yesterday. In just 5 innings, Leominster with a 10-0 Mercy Rule victory over Maine South. So it continues to be a bizarre season for Maine South. Some really good games and some really bad ones. Cherry Valley with an 8-4 victory over Framingham. Runner now takes off for second base. Throw looped down without much on it from John Reardon, and Parker able to slide in safely with the steal. So into scoring position, and an 0-2 count on Brendan Kelly. Next pitch from Cipro, and that is low. Trickles just behind the catcher. He was able to pounce on it. And Parker stays put at second base, now 1-2. Practice cuts for Brendan Kelly as pitcher and catcher go through the signs. Now the set and the 1-2 pitch. That misses outside. And just finishing up the final scores. It was a doubleheader yesterday for Shrewsbury and North County. North County playing an awful lot of doubleheaders on the season. Playing another one against Shrewsbury yesterday, and it was a Shrewsbury sweep. 4-1 in game one, 16-5 in game two, as Kelly goes after a pitch upstairs, comes up empty, and he will head back to the dugout, the second strikeout victim of the inning. And with 2 outs now, Matt Shaver will stand in. Shaver drove in the go-ahead run for Milford in the first inning with a sac fly. That's with Sam Parker at second base. And swings at the first pitch, chops it on the ground towards short, scooped up by Mick Sullivan. He will throw on target to first base to get the out. That concludes things in the bottom of the third inning, so Milford able to get a leadoff base runner, but Parker stranded on. And we will head on to inning number 4 here at Pheno Field with the score right where it's been, 2-1, Milford on top of Sturbridge here on MyFM 101.3. Top half of inning number 4 here at Pheno Field. It is Sturbridge trailing Milford 2-1. Sturbridge, the only team with hits in this game. They have 3. Just 1 run. Jack Tempesta now will deal with batters 4, 5, and 6 in the Sturbridge order. And first pitch swinging, Roger Leland lifts a fly ball out to center field, not deep. Ben McKenzie jogging in to make the play for out number 1. Fast out. And that will bring up Pat Wilbur. Wilbur struck out looking to bring an end to the first inning. Now swings at the first pitch here and sends it out to right field. Towards the line goes Alex Confride, and he is there to make the play. And with 2 pitches, Jack Tempesta has collected 2 outs. And that will move it along down to the number 6 hitter, Mick Sullivan. He is the last Sturbridge hitter to record a hit. He singled to lead off the second inning. Now takes the first pitch for a called strike. Now the 0-1 on the way, and it's grounded foul down the first base line. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Tempesta looking for a 1-2-3 inning on an economy of pitches. He is back into the windup. Here's the 0-2, and it's fought off foul all over the third base dugout. Still an 0-2 count on Sullivan. Left-hand batter digs back in, pinwheels the bat. And now Tempesta ready with his next offering, and it's lifted foul once again. And so after 2 very quick at-bats, Sullivan trying to drive up Tempesta's pitch count just a little bit here with 2 down and the bases empty in the top of the 4th. Tempesta staring over the glove. Now fires it to the plate and misses down and in. So there's the first ball of the inning issued by Tempesta. He's ready now to deliver another, the 1-2 pitch, and that is swung on and missed. A very effective inning for Jack Tempesta. He retires the side in order. Now a half a dozen strikeouts for the Nipmuc product. And we are through 3.5 innings now from Pheno Field, where the score remains Milford 2 and Sturbridge 1 here on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. You are listening to Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3.
Today's WMRC Milford Medway, 101.3 FM, 1490 AM.
Post 59 looking for some hits as they come to the plate in the bottom of the 4th inning. They have not a hit to be found in this game, though they do lead 2-1. All of their scoring done in the 1st inning, courtesy of 2 sacrifice flies and 5 Sturbridge walks. They've had just 1 base runner since the 1st inning. Alex Gunfriday, Jacob Beater, and Chris Brunt, the batters to the plate here in the 4th, and Alex Gunfriday quickly down in an 0-2 hole. And now a wave and a miss, and Cipro able to make quick work of Gunfriday. That's 3 Ks now to the last 4 batters faced by Spencer Cipro. So after a rocky start to this game, to say the least, for Cipro, that 1st inning looked like he would be fortunate to even get out of the 1st. He has really gotten the train back on the tracks and now deals a 1st pitch strike into Jacob Beater. Last came to the plate in the 1st inning with the bases loaded and 2 down, but popped out to end the inning. Now takes a pitch up and in as the count evens at a ball and a strike. Coach DeVito cheering on his catcher over in the 3rd base coach's box as Beater now looks at a pitch low and outside. The count a 1-ball, 2-strike count on Beater. Cipro to the set. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball that stays high. It's now an even count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. Next pitch on the way, and that is a breaking ball in for strike 3. And so these hitters perhaps lulled to sleep a bit. They have struck out 4 times in their last 5 at-bats. With all of those walks in the early innings, these hitters may be getting a little passive. And all of a sudden now Cipro has found the strike zone, and he pours in a 1st pitch strike now into Chris Brunt. Here comes the 0-1 now, and that hits at the knees. And it is a no-ball, 2-strike count with the bases empty and 2 away. Cipro looking for his 2nd 1-2-3 inning of the night. Here comes the 0-2 pitch, and that misses just a bit high. Tough take with 2 strikes, but Brunt hangs in there. And now Cipro will back off. Looked like he might have gotten a little bit of sweat in the eyes, wipes it, and now stands back atop the rubber. Here's his 1-2 pitch, and it's waved at and missed. Brunt well off the mark on that swing, and it is a 1-2-3 inning for Spencer Cipro. He strikes out the side in order, and now up to 5 Ks in what has suddenly become a very strong outing for Spencer Cipro. And we are moving on to inning number 5 here at Pheno Field. It is still a tight one. Milford 2 and Sturbridge 1 here on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3. Coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3 is brought to you in part by Cedar Hill Farm in Mendon, offering grass and corn-fed prepackaged meats with no hormones or added antibiotics. Coverage also brought to you in part by Massachusetts Correction Officers Federated Union, supporting all first responders, police and fire personnel. A 1-ball, no strike count on Jared Langevin, the Sturbridge DH, who leads off the top half of the 5th. Sprays one foul over the backstop here as the count evens. It'll be Jared Langevin, John Reardon, and Nolan Kingman. Visitors half of inning number 5. Tempesta back out there. He's been in a groove as well. Here's his 1-1, and that will push Langevin off the plate. As the count goes to 2-1. Langevin reached on a fielder's choice his first time up. Here's the 2-1 offering, and it's swung on and missed. Count goes to 2-2. Nice big crowd on hand here at Pheno Field for tonight's game, as the 2-2 pitch misses high. Still plenty of home games left on the regular season schedule for Post 59, and then a slate of state tournament games later on in the summer. Here comes the payoff pitch, and it's a bouncer over towards the left side. Brunt will squeeze it and fires a strong throw over to Brendan Kelly at first, and out number 1 is recorded. So now John Reardon coming to the plate. Right-hander 0 for 1 in the game. He struck out against Tempesta his last time up. Takes the first pitch here high for ball 1. Tempesta into the windup. The pitch is bounced back up the middle, and that is going to sneak its way out into center field for a base hit. And that is the first base runner for Sturbridge since the 2nd inning. That breaks up a string of 10 consecutive batters retired by Jack Tempesta. It's the 4th hit of the game now overall for Sturbridge. And a 1-out base runner on now ahead of Nolan Kingman, who bounced into a force play to end the 2nd inning. First pitch is drilled in for strike 1. Not much of a lead at first base for the catcher, Reardon. As now Kingman shows bunt, sends it back out towards the mound. Tempesta scoops it up. He fires to first base, but Kelly lets it bounce out of his glove. Reardon kept on running. He will wind up at third base. And safe at first is Kingman on a complete lack of concentration play from Brendan Kelly. Tempesta scooped that ball in front of the pitcher's mound and threw a perfect strike over to first base. And Kelly just did not look it into the glove, and he takes a couple of peeks over to the first base dugout. I cannot imagine that the message from his head coach is a very positive one right now. That is not a play that's going to draw a lot of positive reaction from your coaching staff. And all of a sudden now it's runners at the corners with 1 out. The tying run at third base for Sturbridge. And the top of the order bats coming up. Sean Clark, a big cut on the first pitch he sees. He fouls it off. So that will go in the books as an E3. No balls and 1 strike on Clark, who is 1 out of 2 with a double. And now sends a chopper back towards the mound. The runner breaking for home plate. Beater tries to race back to the plate to apply the tag, but he cannot get there in time. And John Reardon crosses the plate with the tying run. Both Tempesta and Beater went after that little tapper out in front of the plate. The better play for Beater may have been to stay behind the dish to field a throw from Tempesta. I believe Tempesta would have gotten there in time to potentially get the out, but once both went after it, there was no one to cover home, and Reardon scores, and this game is now knotted up at 2. And so that'll go in the books as a fielder's choice for Sean Clark. He'll collect the RBI. Nolan Kingman safely down to second base, so runners at first and second now for Sturbridge, still one out. And a 1-ball, 1-strike count now on Avery Weatherby, who has done the same thing twice so far tonight, and that is strikeout looking. Good speed on the bases now for Sturbridge. Here's the 1-1, and that misses inside. The bullpen quiet for post 59 right now. Tempesta was in cruise control, but running into some trouble here in the top of the 5th. Here's the 2-1 and a big swing and a miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Left-handed batter Weatherby at the plate, and he will now back out. Granted time by the home plate ump, and it looks like now Milford will send an arm out to get loose in the bullpen. Looks like it is Sean Ryan. Here's the 2-2 pitch, and it misses outside. Full count now. It's going to take Ryan some time to get loose, so Tempesta trying to get back into that groove. He is ready now with a 3-2 pitch. The runners hold as the pitch is swung on and missed. First base was occupied, so the batter retired. He cannot run down to first base. However, the lead runners were able to advance as that ball did kick away to the edge of the dirt around home plate. So Clark down to second base, Kingman to third. Go-ahead run now at third base for Sturbridge with 2 down, and their number 3 hitter, Devin Kingman, at the plate. And a lot of timeouts being called now by these Sturbridge hitters. You wonder if they're trying to break up Tempesta's rhythm. Ready to see a pitch now, and it grabs the outside corner for a strike. Kingman is 0 for 2 so far tonight. He popped out in foul ground to the third baseman in the first inning, then grounded out to shortstop in the third. There's the windup and the 0-1 pitch, and this is a floater out to shallow right center field. It's down for a hit, and 2 runs are going to score for Sturbridge, as now the throw comes in past the cutoff man in towards the infield grass. It will go as a 2-run double for Devin Kingman. And Sturbridge has come back here to now take a 4-2 lead. And so the error at first base for Brendan Kelly completely turning the tide in this game. Milford was on their way to an easy out number 2. And instead the error allowed the runners to advance further, and now we've seen 6 batters come to the plate. 3 big runs have scored to give Sturbridge the lead back. 4-2 score, and now Roger Leland with a swing and a miss to start off his at-bat. Nolan Kingman and Sean Clark both crossing the plate on that double into the right center gap. And now this pitch comes too far inside and grabs a piece of Leland. He was not happy about it as he fired the bat away. And Coach DeVito now quickly out of the first base dugout. This has turned in a hurry for Tempesta. He was looking so good. Again, he had retired 10 consecutive batters, but with runners on in this inning, Tempesta allowing 1 run to score on a fielder's choice play, which, again, there was some questionable defense there. He's not been helped out particularly by his infield defense in this inning, but also allowing the big 2-run double that surrendered the lead. Coach DeVito just a conversation with his starter, so he will let him try to get out of this inning as Sean Ryan continues to fire away in the bullpen. The 7th batter for Sturbridge coming to the plate in this inning, and I beg your pardon, the 8th batter to come to the plate in this inning, and Pat Wilbur. He is 0 for 2. So big 2-out, 2-run hit out of the meat of the order for Sturbridge. That meat of the order brought to you by Cedar Hill Farm in Mendon, offering grass and corn-fed prepackaged meats with no hormones or added antibiotics. It's an 0-2 count now on Wilbur, who has struck out and flied out tonight. Tempesta the kick and the pitch. I think he reached back for a couple of extra miles per hour on that fastball, but missed high. The count now 1-2. And the next pitch is chopped on the ground towards third base. Grabbing it is Matt Shaver. He carries it to the third base bag to get the force out that ends the inning, but it's a 3-run inning for Sturbridge, and they turn a 2-1 deficit into a 4-2 lead. And we'll head to the bottom of the 5th inning when we come back after this here on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball here on My FM 101.3. Sturbridge now with 4 runs on 5 hits. And no errors. Milford 2 runs, no hits, 1 error. That 1 error really looming large in this game. By my count, just 1 unearned run out of the 3 that Sturbridge scored in the top half of this 5th inning, but that error really gave Sturbridge some new life, put Jack Tempesta on the ropes. And so Milford now will look to come from behind for the 2nd time in this game. They quickly overcame a 1-0 deficit in the 1st inning with 2 runs to take that 2-1 lead. But again, as we've been mentioning throughout the broadcast, Milford has not collected a hit. So all of the damage done offensively in Framingham last Friday, 13 runs on 10 hits, now just 2 runs on no hits through the first 4 tonight. They will send the top of their order to the plate against Cipro in this inning, and Ben McKenzie with a towering pop-up out behind second base. It is Nolan Kingman who makes the catch, and that right now has been the story of this game. A lot of pop-ups. A lot of fly balls and pop-ups. So McKenzie now 0 for 2. Now Steven Simos will stand in. Simos looks at a first pitch strike. Steven Simos a walk and a run scored in the 1st inning and then flew out to right field in the 2nd. Cipro has retired 7 consecutive batters, and 11 of the last 12 batters. The only batter to reach since the 1st inning was Sam Parker on a leadoff walk in the 3rd. Very little accomplished for Milford other than that, so they had an opportunity to almost put this game out of reach in the 1st inning with all of those walks, and they really did not maximize that opportunity. They've been very much off balance in the batter's box since then. Now a 1-ball, 2-strike count on Simos. And the next pitch from Cipro is sliced to the opposite field. It's down for a base hit. Grabbed on a hop by Avery Weatherby, so there is the first hit of the game for post 59. It comes with 1 out in the 5th inning. Great approach by Simos, sending that ball the opposite way. We'll see if maybe that can serve as a wake-up call to the rest of this lineup as we now get into the Cedar Hill Farms meat of the order on the post 59 side. Sam Parker swings at the first pitch and loops it foul out of play. Parker tonight has walked both times he has come to the plate. Also stole a base in the third inning, was stranded in scoring position. That was the last base runner Milford had until the Simos base hit. And Simos gets a check in from Cipro. Pretty good pickoff move, but Simos able to dive back in. Sean Ryan has now completed his throwing in the Milford bullpen, so he is ready if needed. Sean Ryan with an excellent debut relief appearance last week as part of that doubleheader day at Tivnan Field. Let's see if he comes on in the top half of the sixth. In the meantime, here in the bottom of the fifth, it's an 0-2 count on Parker. Here's the next pitch, and it's on the inside corner for strike three, and Parker knew it. Makes the walk back to the dugout, as now Cipro has 6 Ks in the game. Six strikeouts and 6 walks for Cipro. And now a bad pickoff throw to first base. It bounced in, got away from Leland, and that will roll off into the crowd. They will award just the one base to Steven Simos. He checked with the infield umpire to see if he would be able to advance to third base, but they keep him at second. So the first error of the game now for Sturbridge on the errant pickoff throw from Cipro. So now Milford with a runner in scoring position. So there are 2 outs. The first pitch now to Danny Johnson is cut on and missed. Johnson with a sacrifice fly and a strikeout. Now the 0-1 pitch is carved foul. That is just over the backstop and fortunately right over the press box windows as well. A no ball, 2-strike count on Danny Johnson. Right-hander Cipro sets now. Here's his pitch, and that bounces in, gets away from the catcher, but not quite far enough for Simos to advance to third base, and that is rare. Usually Simos takes that big secondary lead and is ready to pounce as soon as he sees the pitch drop in the dirt, but not that time. Remains at second base. Now ready with a 1-2 pitch, and that is upstairs. Johnson trying to extend this inning. A hit could very well bring in a run here to cut it a little closer. Here's the pitch, and it's a floater out towards second base. This pulls the first baseman away from the first base bag. Johnson will be safe. Simos comes around from third base, and he's going to score. So a bit of a calamity there on the infield for Sturbridge as Nolan Kingman was playing deep. That ball was just floated out towards the second base position, but died on the infield grass. It pulled both Kingman and Leland from first base in to try to make the play. At that point, no one was covering first. And so easy for Danny Johnson to reach, and then Kingman couldn't get a clean handle on the baseball as Simos aggressively rounded the bases, comes across to score. And it's now a 4-3 game. So we mentioned that Simos could very well score on a hit. We didn't think it would be a hit that didn't leave the infield. There's that heads-up base running. So the deficit just a run now for post 59. Tying run at first, but an 0-2 count quickly on Brendan Kelly, who could use some redemption after that rough defensive play in the top half of the inning, but he will go down on 3 pitches here, the 7th strikeout for Spencer Cipro, and that will end the inning. Milford does grab a run, and so we will head into the 6th inning with the score now Sturbridge 4 and Milford 3 here on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3. Coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3 is brought to you in part by the UPS Store, locations in Milford and Franklin for all your shipping and printing needs. And coverage of Milford Legion Baseball is also brought to you in part by Charles River Bank, making banking a lot smoother with branches in Medway, Mendon, and Bellingham. Mick Sullivan, Jared Langevin, and John Reardon, batters 6, 7, and 8, due up for Sturbridge. Swing and a miss as the count evens at 1 ball and 1 strike. Sullivan has singled and struck out tonight. Jack Tempesta back out for another inning of work. And a ground ball now hits softly towards second base. Simo scoops and throws and gets the out. Leadoff batter retired. And now Jared Langevin will stand in. Milford finally on the board with a couple of hits after the single by Simos and the infield hit for Danny Johnson last inning. Being out-hit by Sturbridge 5-2 and being outscored 4-2. 4-3 now, I beg your pardon, after the RBI last inning. Now a fly ball out to right field. Back goes Gunfriday, and he is there to make the catch. Langevin is out number 2. Back to form so far in this inning for Tempesta as he gets 2 quick outs. It's been a good mix for Tempesta tonight. He's gotten the strikeouts, but he's also done a good job pitching to contact, and now here a little floater out to shallow center field, and a diving catch is made by Ben McKenzie. He came tumbling in towards the infield grass. May have not gotten the best break on that ball, but he made up ground quickly. And a diving play to rob John Reardon of a hit and finish off a 1-2-3 inning for Milford pitching. And so we will move right along to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Milford needing a run to tie, 2 to go ahead. They trail this game 4-3. We'll be back with more in a moment here on MyFM 101.3. It is Spencer Cipro back out there on the hill for Sturbridge post 109. Surrendered a run on a couple of hits in the bottom half of the 5th inning, but again, you subtract that first inning in which he faced 8 batters and walked 5 of them, and he has been virtually lights out in this game. He will face batters 6, 7, and 8, Shaver, Gunfriday, and Beater. Matt Shaver to lead it off. Big swing and a miss from Shaver to start off down in the count. Shaver a sacrifice fly and a ground out. Now a 1 ball, 1 strike count. Right-hander digs back in at the plate. The righty on the mound fires. And a floater stays up around the helmet level of Matt Shaver. 2 balls and a strike. Next pitch on the way is high for ball 3. Just 1 walk since that first inning for Cipro, but in danger of allowing a leadoff free pass here. Wind up and the 3-1 pitch, and it's high for ball 4. The pitch count has to be elevated at this point for Cipro, if for nothing else, based on that laborious first inning. We could hear some activity warming up earlier in the game for Sturbridge, but it appears that their bullpen is quiet right now. Cipro walks the leadoff batter, the tying run on for post 59, and Gunfriday already squaring around. He pulls the bat back, the pitch is a strike, but the ball gets away from the catcher, and down to second base goes Shaver. So all the benefits of the sacrifice without having to record the out. Pass ball for John Reardon, puts the tying run in scoring position, and it's a no-ball, one-strike count on Gunfriday, so we'll see if the bunt play is still on here. Try to drag it down the first base line to advance that tying run to third. He does square and bunts it foul. Takes a bounce to the backstop, and the count now goes to 0-2. And so the bunt play likely off now with 2 strikes. They do still play in tight at the corners. Cipro sets, here's the pitch, and Gunfriday swings away, slices it out to left field, but that will hang up for Weatherby, who makes the catch. One down now, with Shaver representing the tying run at second base, and now Jacob Beater comes to the plate. He has popped out and struck out. A lead at second for Shaver as Beater sends the first pitch foul to the backstop. A couple of stoic fans in lawn chairs behind that backstop did not even flinch as that ball came over in their direction. Veteran move. Set the table for the other games taking place around the zone. If we have time in this inning, just getting our first final score update. Bring that to you as well. Here's the 0-1 pitch, and Beater pops it up out into shallow right field. Now right at the edge of the infield dirt, it's the second baseman, Nolan Kingman, who makes the catch. And there are 2 outs now in the inning, so it will take something from Chris Brunt if Milford's going to continue on here in the 6th. Starting to run out of time. This has been a sleepy offensive effort for post 59 tonight, so perhaps a little hangover from that weekend of inaction. And meanwhile now we're going to see a full conference on the pitcher's mound as one of the members of Coach Roseal's coaching staff heads out there. And it looks like they are going to make the pitching change. So Spencer Cipro with a nice bounce back effort in this game after a rocky first inning. He will depart here with 2 outs in the 6th. So the pitching change made. We'll let you know the new arm on for Post 109 when we come back after this. A 4-3 score. Milford with the tying run in scoring position. More in the bottom of the 6th next here on Milford TV. Coverage of Milford Legion baseball here on My FM 101.3. My other place of employment, Milford TV, also here in the building, but bringing you the live coverage here on My FM 101.3. Tim Caouette here with you on the call. Milford trying to rally in the late innings. They have the tying run at second base as we see a new pitcher on for Sturbridge. It is number 19, Roman Krochmelnitsky. The longest name in Zone 4 for probably the last 3 or 4 years running. Always a favorite name of ours when Sturbridge comes to town, and Roman, the right-hander, inheriting a dicey situation with a tying run at second base and 2 down. A chance here for Chris Brunt. Brunt swings at the first pitch, loops it out towards second base, but it will hang up for Nolan Kingman to make the catch. And just like that, the inning comes to an end. Milford strands the tying run in scoring position. So we will move on to inning number 7 here at Pheno Field. Sturbridge hanging on to a lead, 4-3 on top of Milford, as the action continues in a moment here on My FM 101.3. 4 runs on 5 hits with 1 error for Sturbridge. 3 runs, 2 hits, 1 error for Milford post 59. Now on to inning number 7. And Jack Tempesta is still out there for post 59. In In 6 innings so far, he has allowed those 4 runs on 5 hits. He has not walked a batter tonight and has struck out 6. Both teams have scored 1 unearned run in this game. And it's a quick no ball, 2 strike count now on the number 9 hitter, Nolan Kingman. He will be followed by Sean Clark and Avery Weatherby. Here comes the 0-2 pitch from Tempesta, and right off the end of the bat, Kingman barely able to make contact to foul it off. Tempesta back into the wind, another 0-2 and a pitch down in the dirt. Let's start to bring you the slate of games from around Zone 4 for tonight. 3 early games on the schedule. We'll tell you those after this next pitch, a 1-2 offering that is carved foul over towards the first base dugout. Those 3 5:30 games, Northborough hosting Cherry Valley, Leominster hosting North County, and Northbridge hosting Maine South. The other 7 o'clock game is Grafton Hill versus Shrewsbury. And believe it or not, the one final score update we have is of that other 7 o'clock game, as Tempesta gets a swing and a miss, and Kingman is down to open up the top of the 7th inning. Getting that update courtesy of executive producer Craig D'Alessandro a few moments ago. It took just 5 innings for Shrewsbury to blitz Grafton Hill by a score of 14-1. So Shrewsbury now improves to 8-0 on the season, and Grafton Hill, who had fought their way back to the 500 mark, is now 6-7. As Tempesta delivers ball 1 into the Sturbridge leadoff hitter, Sean Clark, who has doubled and scored a run, reached on a fielder's choice to drive in a run. Has been front and center in the effort on all sides of the ball tonight for Post 109. And now about to see a 1-0 pitch from Jack Tempesta, and it drops in for a called strike. Bases are empty with 1 down. Tempesta now into the windup. This 1-1 pitch is up and in. So we'll see if we can get any updates on any of those early games. I would suspect most, if not all, have come to completion. There's a 2-1 pitch, and it misses away for ball 3. There are a trio of players down in the Milford bullpen right now, none currently throwing. We do know that Sean Ryan is all warmed up and ready to go. Here's a 3-1 pitch, and it's high for ball 4. And Clark is now on base for the 3rd time. And this will bring Coach DeVito out of the dugout, so this looks like it will be the night for the right-hander Tempesta. Gets a handshake from Jacob Beater, his battery mate, and now will hand the baseball off to his head coach. Gets a pat on the chest from Coach DeVito before he departs. It was a solid outing for Tempesta tonight. Cannot win it. Certainly pitched well enough to, but unfortunately a couple of defensive gaffes for Milford in the 5th inning allowed Sturbridge to take the lead, and so now we will see Sean Ryan out of the bullpen for Post 59, looking to hold serve with Milford down a run. We'll pause as Ryan makes his warm-up tosses, and we'll have more in this top of the 7th inning right after this here on My FM 101.3. The right-hander Sean Ryan, product out of Hopedale High School, finishing his warm-up tosses on the mound right now. He will inherit this top half of the 7th inning with a 1-out runner aboard. This is the 2nd relief appearance of the season for Sean Ryan. The first one was excellent. 2 1/3 innings of scoreless relief. Did not allow a hit or a run or a walk. Struck out 2. appeared for the first time as part of the doubleheader last Tuesday for Milford at Tivnan Field. Pitched the final 2 1/3 innings of the first game against Eastside, and again did not allow a base runner outside of a 2-out error at first base in the 7th inning, but that was quickly erased as the ball game ended on the next batter. So Ryan, who was solid in the high school year for Hopedale, carrying that good pitching into the Legion season. But misfiring on the first 2 pitches here as he begins this relief appearance facing the number 2 hitter Avery Weatherby, who has struck out all 3 times he's come to the plate so far tonight. There's a 2-0 pitch. It's grounded hard to the right side. Rangy play for Simos. Now throws to first base and gets it there in time. That looked like it was ticketed for right field, but Simos, moving so well laterally, was able to close in, make the play, and fire to first base for the out. Excellent play by Steven Simos. Sean Clark does advance to second base, but there are now 2 outs in the inning. Steven Simos, so professional out there with everything that he does. His defense top-notch, clutch hitting. Can play virtually any position out there on the diamond. He has been a pleasure to watch in this first stretch of games in his Legion career. A couple of words exchanged between Beater and Ryan before the at-bat begins for Devin Kingman, who has the big hit of this game right now. It is the difference in this game, a 2-out, 2-run double for Devin Kingman back in the 5th inning that pushed Sturbridge on top. And now takes a pitch low for ball 1. Ryan very much aware of that runner at second base. Wind up and the 1-0 pitch, that misses.
Hey, 3, what do you say now?
2-0 as Sean Clark leads away from second base. Ryan to the set. Here's the righty's pitch, and it's slapped slowly on the ground towards shortstop. Brunt, a clean play, and a good throw to first base. Gets there in time for the out. That retires the side. The last chance for Milford coming up in the bottom of the 7th inning, trailing by a run. We'll see if Milford can come from behind to squeak out this victory when we come back next on our coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on My FM 101.3. Bottom of the 7th inning. Milford has not trailed this deep in a game since all the way back on game number 2 of the year. They have been riding an elongated winning streak that started back on June 17th, but that winning streak is in jeopardy here tonight as Milford trails Sturbridge by a run. A 10-game winning streak on the line as Post 59 brings the top of their order to the plate in the bottom of the 7th inning. McKenzie, Simos, and Parker, so they have the bats they want coming up to the plate against the reliever Roman Krachmelnitsky. He's able to pitch out of a jam, entering the game with 2 outs in the 6th. Now facing Ben McKenzie, and before he even throws a pitch, McKenzie granted time. Now the righty digs back in. The righty Krachmelnitsky with the pitch. And it hits the outside corner for strike 1. Again, by far and away the longest name in all of Zone 4. An 0-1 pitch now on the way to McKenzie. And that misses just inside, a 1-ball, 1-strike count. We'll spell it out for you. It is Krochlnykyj. Spells Krachmelnitsky. And now delivers a pitch inside to bring the count to 2 balls and a strike. unfortunately for whoever makes the uniforms for Sturbridge, they don't have the last names on the back, as this one is now sent in the air pretty deep out to left center field. That's going to be beyond the reach of Pat Wilbur into the left center gap, and Ben McKenzie will stop at second base with a leadoff double. And so the tying run in scoring position for Milford, the potential winning run now steps to the plate in the person of Steven Simos. Simos has been on base twice tonight, once via a walk and once on the only base hit tonight for Milford that left the infield over the first 6 innings. Now Simos sends a towering fly ball down the left field line into foul ground, and running it down is Avery Weatherby for the out. Weatherby traveling a long way. This outfield defense for really both teams tonight has been solid, but particularly these corner outfielders for Sturbridge. There have been a couple of times tonight where they've had to go an awful long way to make plays, and they've done it. That's a big out on Simos. And so now Sam Parker at the plate, again with that tying run at second, and a big cut for Parker as he fouls it off to the backstop. Sam tonight has walked twice, stolen a base, and struck out. No 0-1 count. Melnitzki to the set, now the pitch, and it's a high fly ball out to right into foul territory, over towards the line for Sean Clark. He makes the catch. The runner tags at second base, moves up to third, and McKenzie slides in just ahead of the tag. What a chance Milford took there. The ball game easily could have ended right there on a base running play, but McKenzie just able to slide in ahead of the throw. It was an excellent throw. So there it is again, the outfield for Sturbridge, as Sean Clark traveling towards the line to make that catch and then fired a strike all the way to third base. And so the tying run is now at third base, but Milford down to their last out. And it will take something from Danny Johnson, who has driven in 2 of Milford's 3 runs tonight. He takes the first pitch on the outside corner for strike 1. This would be a huge statement win for Sturbridge to get themselves back to 500. Here comes the 0-1 pitch, and Johnson pops it up foul, but that is out of play. Milford now down to their last strike. Brendan Kelly pacing in the on-deck circle, hoping to get a chance. This inning starting off strong for Milford with the double, but 2 quick fly outs and put them up against it. 0-2 the count. Wind up and the pitch. And Johnson takes it high, not enticing. And Reardon looking McKenzie back to the third base bag as he walked partway out towards the mound before firing that pitch, firing that ball back to the pitcher. 1-2 now the count. Here it comes, and it's a line drive out to left field deep. This sends Weatherby back. It's going to be over his head and into the left center field gap. McKenzie scores to tie the game. Here comes Johnson rumbling towards third base. The throw is not going to get there in time. It is an RBI triple for Danny Johnson. And Milford down to their last strike. They are able to tie this game up at 4. A huge shot out into the gap in left center for Johnson. He slowed up about a third of the way down the line from second to third. It looked like he was going to stop, but then ramped up the speed and was able to get in ahead of the throw. The throw to the cutoff man was boxed around a little bit. And Johnson able to slide in safely. So now Milford with the winning run at third base as Brendan Kelly stands in. Chance for Milford to win it now. Here's the 1-0, and that comes up and in. That's going to clip Kelly, and he will head down to first base. So a hit by pitch puts runners at the corners, but the only run that matters is the one at third. And the Milford native, Matt Shaver, who has had so many clutch hits here on Pheno Field over his 4-year high school career, looking to deliver a walk-off hit here in the bottom of the 7th with 2 down. Here comes the first pitch of the at-bat, and it's taken up and in for ball 1. Shaver tonight has driven in a run on a sacrifice fly. He's also walked and grounded out. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and that's in for a strike. Tied up at 4 on the back of a big 2-out RBI triple from Danny Johnson, who is now representing the winning run at third base. The runner takes off for second as Shaver slices the pitch foul and out of play. And the count is now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Will we see extra innings, or will we see a Milford victory? Shaver sets back up on the right side. Short lead at third base for Johnson, and now quickly steps back to the third base bag as Krachmelnitsky looks over in his direction. The righty sets. The runner again takes off from first as Shaver skies the pitch foul. It carves out of play off over the first base dugout. Milford now has Nick Kazarian warming up in the bullpen. He has faced this Sturbridge team before, hoping to not be needed here. He would much prefer to see Matt Shaver end this ball game right here. Still a 1 ball, 2 strike count. The set and the pitch. Shaver lets it go high. Kelly, a free trip down to second base on the defensive indifference. Now a 2 ball, 2 strike count on the Milford third baseman. And now the next pitch on the way. Shaver bends back off the plate as that one comes up and in, and it is now a 3 ball, 2 strike count. So many ways this ball game could end in Milford's favor with that runner at third base. Here comes the 3-2 pitch now, and Shaver lets it go, and it's on the outside corner for strike 3. A borderline pitch. Shaver hoping to get the call in his favor, but he gets rung up, and Milford will strand the winning run at third base, but they do get the equalizer. And so we will head on to an 8th inning tonight, with Milford now all tied up with Sturbridge on a score of 4-4 here on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball here on MyFM 101.3. On to an 8th inning here at Pheno Field tonight. It has been a close one right from the start. We've seen a couple of flips on the scoreboard from a 1-0 lead after half an inning for Sturbridge. Milford pulling ahead with 2 runs in their half of the first inning. And then a 3-run 5th for Sturbridge, giving them a 4-2 lead. Milford tightening it to 4-3 in their half of the 5th, but then a clutch 2-out RBI hit from Danny Johnson, pulling Milford back from the brink of a loss to tie it in the 7th. They very nearly pulled off the walk-off, but Shaver with a strikeout with the winning run at third base, pushing us on to this 8th inning. Sean Ryan back out there. And now swinging a drive out to deep left field to lead off the inning. Now Ben McKenzie drifting back on it, had it in the glove but didn't secure it. Now the runner trying to advance to third. The throw is going to get away, and it hits the third base coach as it ticks out of play, but they will award the plate as the ball goes completely off the field of play. Coach DeVito is going to come out to argue. Ben McKenzie very nearly made the catch out in very deep left center field. He had it momentarily in the glove, but it ended up dropping behind him. Then the throw took a long time to get back in, hit the cutoff man, and then spiked in the dirt on the way into third base. A good throw would have had Roger Leland, but the throw then kicked away. It did literally then get kicked by the third base coach on the way by. He tried to get out of the way, but it most definitely made contact with his foot, and that I'm sure is the argument right now from Coach DeVito that that should have been a dead ball with the runner staying put at third. Right now, the conversation continues with the home plate umpire. So a very big call here. And now a swing and a miss from Pat Wilbur. And so that will likely go in the books as a triple. And then an error on, I believe it was Brunt who sent that throw in from the cutoff position. As now this ball is grounded to second base and it kicks off the glove of Simos. And Pat Wilbur will reach. So now a second error for Milford. 3 errors in the game for the normally solid Milford defense. Simos just a little bit of a lack of focus there, not looking that ball into the glove, and so now a runner at first base with no outs in the inning, and Mick Sullivan now standing in on the left side after a quick pickoff check over at first base on Wilbur, who had been 0 for 3 but now reaches on the error. And now Mick Sullivan shows bunt, drops it down the third base line. Beater chooses to pick it up in fair territory, and now no one covers third base. The runner will move on and will get there safely as Milford right now is completely imploding defensively. That ball would have trickled into foul territory, but for some reason, Jacob Beater elected to pick it up right on the line. The home plate umpire then emphatically ruling it a fair ball. And meanwhile, everyone's standing around midway down the third base line, no one covering third base, so alertly, Patrick Wilbur just continues to move along. He is now at third base with Sullivan safe at first. And this Milford defense now completely asleep at the wheel. 3 errors now in rapid-fire succession in this inning. Jared Langevin now at the plate. He watches that pitch go in the dirt to bring the count to 1 ball and 1 strike. So unsure if that will go in the books as a fielder's choice or an infield hit. We'll put it in as an infield base hit for the moment. Infield in tight at third base as this ball is now grounded to short. Brunt fields, throws to second for the out there. Now on to first to complete the double play. But in the back door from third base comes Pat Wilbur to score. Momentarily, Chris Brunt thought about firing to the plate, but then elected to flip to second base to begin the 6-4-3 double play. So that does clear the bases, but a second run scores as Sturbridge is able to get a little insurance. They now take a 6-4 lead with the bases empty and now 2 down, and John Reardon at the plate, who carves 1 foul for strike 1. So 2 unearned runs scoring so far in this 8th inning. Just a very un-Milford-like inning. An 0-1 pitch upcoming, and it is in for strike 2. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 8th, Milford has the bottom of their order due up. First an 0-2, and it is swung on and missed for strike 3, so the inning finally comes to an end, but not before a comedy of errors defensively for post 59, as the result now a 6-4 lead for Sturbridge going into the bottom of the 8th inning. We'll see if Milford can pull themselves off the mat when they come back right after this here on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3. Bottom of the 8th inning now here at Pheno. The Milford fans antsy after that uncharacteristic defensive display. 2 big errors and 1 glaring lack of concentration on not only Jacob Beater's behalf, but also the entire left side of the infield. And the end result, 2 runs crossing the plate for Sturbridge. on 2 more hits. They now lead at 6-4. 6 runs, 7 hits, 1 error now for Sturbridge. 4 runs, 4 hits, and 3 errors for Milford. And we want to remind all of our listeners that all of our Milford Legion broadcasts, as well as all of our coverage of high school sports here on MyFM, is powered by Tony's State Line Power Products in Blackstone. It will be Alex Gunfriday who comes to the plate first in this bottom of the 8th inning. There has not been much generated from this bottom third of the order tonight for post 59. Gunfriday worked a walk back in the first inning. That is the only time batters 7 through 9 have reached base tonight. A combined 0 for 8 with 3 strikeouts. Roman Krachmelnitsky back out there on the hill. He is in line to get the victory if he can get these last 3 Milford outs. Also has a blown save in this game after allowing the tying run to score for Milford in the bottom of the 7th. And now Gunfriday with a roller out towards second base, gobbled up by Nolan Kingman. He fires to first base to get the out. And there's 1 down. And quite a set of extremes for Milford from the bottom of the 7th inning when they were able to push that tying run across. They had the winning run ever so close at third base, but could not bring him home. And then the bottom just falling out defensively for Milford in the top half of this 8th inning. Now down to their last 2 outs as Jacob Beater now slices one out to right field, but it's going to take more than that to get past Sean Clark tonight, who has played an excellent defensive right field. He makes the catch there, and Milford is quickly down to their final out. And a lot of the fans starting to head for the exits now here at Pheno. The last hope for post 59 rests in the bat of Chris Brunt, who has gone 0 for 3 tonight with a pop out, a strikeout, and a line out to second base. Swings at the first pitch and pokes it foul out of play. "13 runs put up on Friday night for Milford. 3 days later, the offense has been much more difficult to come by. Here's the 0-1 pitch, and that is in for a called strike 2, and Milford now 1 strike away from seeing their 10-game winning streak snapped. Front digs back in the right side batter's box. Krachmelnitsky into the windup, and the pitch is swung on and missed. And the ball game comes to an end, and the winning streak comes to an end for Milford post 59. They go quickly and quietly in this 7th inning, and they fall to Sturbridge tonight by a final score of 6-4. And so with the loss, Milford will fall now to 10-3 on the season. And with the victory, Sturbridge back to 500. They are now 7-7 overall on the season. Well, a lot to digest as part of our Mass Renewables post-game report. We will bring it to you when we come back after this here on our coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3.